Welcome to the Pampered Thoughts podcast, where we are inspiring and encouraging women to love themselves as they are without shame or guilt, focusing on topics such as self-love, marriage and family, balance in life and business, and all things woman. Every week, we'll share inspirational topics that focus on helping you to overcome your struggles and limitations with lack of identity, low self-esteem, self-love, confidence, and so much more. I'm your host, Veronica, a wife, mom, speaker, entrepreneur, and more importantly, a daughter of the King. Hey, y'all. Welcome to Pampered Thoughts and welcome to another week's episode. I am super glad you guys are joining me this week. If this is your first time visiting or listening in, welcome. If you've been coming every Thursday and hanging with me, I appreciate you. I appreciate all of the listeners, and I have a lot to get off my chest this week. Well, this day, but I had a busy week this week, kind of an overwhelming week. And when I look back over last week when we were talking, well, we're just going to hop right into it this week. If you notice, I titled this episode Changing Shifts: 3 Tips to Maintain Your Sanity in Transition. And as I thought about this topic, or actually, this is one of the things I explained last week when I say that I experience what I tell you all. This is so true. This past week has been a busy week for me. It's been a little bit of an overwhelming week, but I'm still thankful. Last week, as I talked to you guys about, I didn't know why I was talking about life and just being thankful for life and just appreciating life, appreciating those around you and those who love you, and just really looking forward to brighter days. I found out actually that day that I recorded that episode that my youngest daughter, was in a car accident and the car was totaled. But thanks be to the Most High that she is alive and well. She was not injured or hurt in that accident. Someone ran the red light and ran into her. And little did I know that as I was recording that episode last week, that's why I was saying being thankful for life, because I had no idea that my daughter was going to be in a car accident that day. And so when I say appreciate life and be thankful for life, I truly mean it, because it didn't dawn on me until the beginning of this month. The beginning of this week, that I had been saying that. And I said, I don't know why I keep saying this. I don't know why I'm going this route, but just appreciate life. Be thankful for life, for living, because there's some who did not make it to the age of 20. And my daughter is 19, the one that actually got in the car accident. And so I am truly thankful for life. I know she's thankful for life. And I just give the Most High all of the praise, because I know had it not been for him, things could have turned out a whole lot worse and a whole lot different. And so I'm thankful to him for that. So when you hear me give Yah praise, or God, which I explained in a past episode, that when you hear me say Yah, I'm talking about Yahweh, the Most High, God of heaven and earth, of the Bible. But when I give him praise, it's because I know that he's real. It's because I know that he watches over each and every one of us, and that he takes care of us. Even in times when we don't necessarily understand what's going on, we don't understand the things that we're facing, but he's there. He's right there keeping us. He's right there making sure that we're taken care of. I thank him today. And I wanted to share that story with you all. I told you that this is my life. I'm going to be sharing stories. This is my real life. These are things that I'm going through and things that are happening. And as I said, I named this Changing Shifts, because after I heard about what happened with my daughter, I had to take off work a little early to go check on her and make sure everything was okay. The next day, I get a call from my supervisor on my job saying that we're going to be putting you on a new system, and your shift is going to change. Your team is going to change. And this starts on Monday. This was on a Wednesday. So I had to go and pick up the new system on Friday. And this Monday that just passed, I was actually working my new shift. And at first, I have to say I was upset. I was very upset because I was comfortable in my position that I was in my shift that I was in. And for it to change in a matter of a day, I didn't like it. But one thing I had to learn was that I had to adjust to the transition. I had to be okay with it. There was nothing else that I really could do other than accept the fact that it changed. And so I bring this up today and I talk to you guys today about it because sometimes in life you're going to have shift changes. That may be on your job, that may be in your life, in a relationship, with friendships. There's going to be some changes that go on in your life. And one thing I've come to learn is that when the Father is working with us, when He uses us the most, is when we get out of our comfort zone. I had gotten comfortable in my position that I was in, and I enjoyed my shift. I didn't want to go to another shift. So the Father took me out of my comfort zone. He allowed me to be taken out of my comfort zone, and I didn't like that too much. And sometimes when you go through things in life and you have those shift changes in your life, it doesn't always feel good. And it takes you out of your comfort zone because now you're in an area where you don't necessarily understand what's happening or what's going on. And so this week, as I say, was a pretty kind of an overwhelming week because not only had I just found out that my daughter was in a car accident, but my shift on my job changed. Because my shift changed, I had to shift around and change different things as it related to my schedule, not only for my job, but for my business. There were some sacrifices that I had to make, and I had to be okay with that, and I had to learn to balance that out. And so mentally, it was been kind of a frustrating week. It's been kind of a overload mentally, I guess you would say. But I wanted to share 3 tips of how to maintain your sanity in transition because I know that a lot of times it's not easy for us to accept a transition. Whatever that transition may be for you, you just may be in a new territory in your life. I know with everything that's going on in the world today, with just all of the different things that are happening around us each and every day, there's some people that had to make some transitions. Like what you've heard so far? Great. Make sure you never miss a show by clicking the subscribe button now. This podcast is made possible by listeners like you. Thank you so much for your support. Now back to the show. There were jobs that were lost. People are unemployed. People are still receiving unemployment. Some people may not even be receiving unemployment. So there's some transitions. There's some things that are happening in people's lives that they have to adjust to. And one of the things that's going to help with that, which I hope that these tips that I give today will be a help for you. And whatever your transition is for your life, know that you can find sanity. Know that you can find peace. Know that you can deal with the transition. Know that you can adjust to the change that's happening in your life right now. No matter what that is, you may be going through a divorce. You may be in a separation in your relationship, in your marriage. You may be transitioning. You may be becoming a new mom. And so now you have to transition into that point of now you have a whole little human that you have to take care of. And you don't know what to do. Babies don't come with guidebooks. They don't come with instruction manuals. So this is a new transition for you into becoming a new mom. Whatever it might be, you have to maintain your sanity during that transition to be able to adjust so that you can function effectively and properly during that time. And so my first tip, which you all know, that spirituality is a big part of my life. And so when I talk about the things that I go through, it's because I use the Bible to help me through. I pray, I meditate, and I speak to the Most High, Yahweh, as it relates to my relationship and the way I navigate life. And if you're listening to me, I hope that you're doing the same thing. If you're not, maybe this can be something that will help you, and maybe you might learn to. But as for me, this is how I navigate through life, and this is what helps me is my relationship with the Most High. And so the first tip is you're going to just have to trust that Yah is working. Trust that God is working in your life. That even though you may start to see things shift in your life, you may start to see things. Sometimes it may look like chaos. Sometimes it may look bad. When my daughter got in that car accident, and when we saw the car today, it looked bad. Actually, the day she got into the accident, but when we saw it today, it looked worse because we were able to see the extent of the damages that happened to the car. It was bad. It was chaos. You may see chaos going on in your life and things don't look good, but remember what the Father says. He says that all things work together for the good of those who love God. And because of that, there are going to be some bad things. There are going to be some things that don't look good in your life, but know that they work together for your good. We have to trust that His plan is always going to work. We have to trust that whatever is happening, He's orchestrating what's going on around you and for His purpose. So this is one of the things that if you say you're a Bible believer and you say that you trust the Most High or you trust God, it's times that when you're going through shift and you're being moved out of your comfort zone, these are the times when you have to literally trust Him. Because once you get into that place of comfort, and if you follow me on Facebook or Instagram, you saw on my personal page, then you saw that I posted about the comfort zone and how the Father uses us best when we're out of our comfort zone. And there's certain levels that we go through. And one of that first level coming out of the comfort zone is fear. And when we get out of that comfort zone, we're in a state of fear because we don't know what's going on. But when you say that you believe in the Bible and you believe in the Most High, these are times when you have to trust that He's working, that no matter what I see around me and I look around me and it doesn't look right, I know that He's working all things out for my good. Because why? We walk by faith and not by sight. So even though we may not see that it looks good, we know and we have faith that He's working all things out for our good. So once you get into your comfort zone, it's easy for you to have the control. I was on day shift, which was a perfect shift for me, and I was comfortable. I was in it. I was on go. I was in control. I had my schedule down packed. I knew what I was going to do in the morning. I knew what I was going to do when it was time for me to get off. I had everything perfect. I was in control of that. A lot of times we can get into that place of comfort and we forget that the Father may want to adjust some things around us for us to be pushed out of that comfort zone so that we can trust on Him. Because if we're the one calling the shots, then it's almost like we're the ones that have become God over our lives. Yes, we are in control of our lives to a certain extent. So we can make plans, but it's the Father who actually directs the plans and who orchestrates the plans. But when we get too much in our comfort zone, a lot of times we can be so comfortable to where we don't want to change or we don't want things around us to change. And when they begin to shift and things begin to move, now we don't know what to do. And that's that place that the Father wants you in, because He wants you in that place so that He can begin to take control, so that He can show you and prove to you who He is, that He's the all in all, that He's the creator of all. And when He gets you out of that zone and He begins to change those shifts around, then you begin to understand who actually holds all things in His hands. Yes, we can have goals, we can have dreams, we can have all of the desires of our hearts, but ultimately the Father is the last say so in that. And so if we're talking about maintaining our sanity when shifts happen or when changes happen, that's one of the ways we can do that, is trusting that God is at work. We don't always have to see Him working in front of us to know that he's working, because he said he's the same today, yesterday, and forever. So we can look at examples from the Bible to see how the Father worked in the lives of those who felt like they were backed up against a wall, or who had things just falling apart in their life, but he was able to bring them out of it. We can look to those for example and for comfort to know the Father, he has my back. So we have to trust that the Father is working. That's the first tip. The second tip is that we have to have a positive outlook. At first, I admit I was upset. I was mad. I did not, that first day, that first day, I did not do good. I was just miserable that whole day. And then when I got off, my husband was like, Ronnie, maybe you kind of had that bad day because you were dreading to go to work and you were dreading to work those hours. And so immediately I had to start thinking, that's true. Because it says, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. I really was dreading going to work that Monday. I really was dreading those hours because it's like my whole day is taken up. And because I was dreading that Monday, yeah, I had a bad day, a really bad day. I had to adjust my outlook. I had to think, okay, the Father is in control of this. He knows what's going on. I don't know what's happening, but I started just thinking, well, it's a blessing that I have a job, because there's some people who don't have a job. There's some people who are still looking for jobs. There's some people who aren't in a position that I'm in to be able to work from home. And so I had to change my outlook. And so if there's something that's going on in your life, even if you can find the smallest thing to be positive about, or the smallest thing to help you shift your mind back to being positive and to thinking on those good things. One thing the scripture says is that you want to think on those things that are pure, that are holy, that are righteous, those things that are of good rapport, that are of virtue. When you can think on the good things and you can think on the goodness of the Father, it begins to shift your whole atmosphere. It begins to shift some things around in your life. And so having a positive outlook is going to help you moving forward to whatever that change you have going on, whatever that shift you may have happening in your life. So having a positive outlook helps for you to begin to adjust with those changes, with that transition that's happening in your life. The third thing is that you want to push past the fear and keep moving. And this is my last and final one, because a lot of times when things start to move and start to shift, we don't know what's going on. We move from that comfort zone into that zone of fear. And then we start to have questions about ourselves. We have questions about our lives, about those who are around us. We begin to have questions about what's going on. Why is this happening? All week, after hearing about my daughter getting in the car accident and then hearing the next day that my shift was going to be changing, I had something to do. And my days have been busy from the time I wake up until the time I get off work and have to go to bed. And I was thinking, how in the world am I going to get this episode done? How am I going to be able to record this and still be able to put it out? Because I want to be consistent. I want to be able to encourage the ladies. I want to be able to just help them in some way. And I had to sacrifice. I had to stay up a little bit later. I had to do what I needed to do to be able to get the episode recorded. So I had to keep moving. I had to keep pushing. Sometimes we can get into a place of fear and we stop. We can get into a place of we start to see that shift and that transition. Some people don't like change. You have some people who will live in fear of starting their business. You have some people who will not move forward because they're fearful of what will happen. You have people who are afraid of rejection. You have people who are afraid of success. You have people who are afraid of failure. You have so many different types of fear. Fear of what people think of them, what people say of them. You have so many different types of fear where it will make you be paralyzed. It'll make you not want to move forward, not want to do anything. With this tip, you have to push past that fear. even if you may not see the whole path, you may not see what's going on further down the line, you may not have an idea or understand what's in the future for you. But if you just push past that fear, because one thing the Bible says, and this scripture encourages me when I get in times like this, it says in Psalms 119 and 105 that your word is a lamp for my feet and a light unto my path. And what I take that as is that the Father will give you just enough light so that you can see the step that you're on. And as you continue to walk along that path, every step you take, that light is going to move with you. Every step, that light is going to be right there with you, going down that path. That's that part of trusting Yah, trusting the Father, because his word is a lamp unto your feet and a light unto your path. So when you seek him, when you read your word, when you pray, when you spend that time with him, he'll give you those directions. He'll help you to understand what's going on in the season that you're in, what's happening with this transition that you're going through. And because of that, it helps you to maintain that sanity. It helps you to keep that peace. It helps you to trust that he has all things under control. And I learned this past week for myself is that I can sometimes get too anxious too fast, or I can get overwhelmed really quickly. So that's an area in my life that the Father is working on me in. You know, I had so much going on this week where it was like, oh my gosh, what's happening? You know, but I began to trust, okay, Father, I know that you have a plan. I know that whatever's going on, you're working it out. I had no idea that my daughter was going to be in a car accident. And now that I think about it, even as I sit here and speak to you, I just thought about that the shift that I was working, the information that I got in regards to the car, if I was working that same shift, I wouldn't have been able to go and take care of the things that I needed to do for the car. But because my shift had been pushed back, now I had that time to be able to go and do what I needed to do. So I just had this revelation just talking to you all right now. See how the Father works? This is so amazing to me. This is how it works. The Father will reveal things to you to show you that I had your back. Because I'm thinking about it. If I was working that 10 to 5:30 shift, I wouldn't have had any time in the morning to take care of the things that I needed to take care of, which I had to do something every morning after that. But this is a perfect example that the Father will take care of you if you just trust him. If you just trust that he's working it out, if you just trust that his plans are going to prevail each and every time, if you just give whatever that is over to him, whether it's your marriage, your relationship, y'all are on bad terms, y'all going through a divorce, whatever it is, give it over to him and ask the Father for wisdom. If it's your children, whatever it is, give it over to the Father and ask him to give you that direction. Ask him to help you understand what's happening. You have to push past that fear and keep moving. You have to trust that he has all things under his control. No matter what they look like, no matter what they feel like, you have to keep moving forward because we walk by faith and not by sight. And so I pray that these tips have helped you. I didn't even know if I was going to put this episode out this week, but I thank the Father that he gave me the words to say. I thank the Father that he really has been with me this week. And I just pray for each and every one of you that's listening. You just take the time, even though your shifts may be changing, even though you may be having some things being shaken up in your life, it's okay. It is okay. Things will get better. There is a master plan behind it all. Just make sure that you're learning the lessons during the times that you're going through. Make sure that you're in tune with the Father so that you can hear what it is he has to say. Make sure that you're maintaining your sanity during that time. And that's putting all of your trust in the Father's hand. He says for you to cast your cares upon him because he cares for you. So whatever cares you have, whatever concerns you have right now, just give it over to him. Let him know because he already knows anyway. Just give it all over to him. Just give your cares over to him and he will make sure to have your back. He will make sure to take care of you. And so with that said, if you haven't done so already, I know that I normally do this at the beginning, but if you haven't done so already, go ahead and take a quick moment to follow us at Pampered Thoughts on Instagram and Facebook at Pampered Thoughts, on Twitter at I Am Pampered, If you have any prayer requests, if you want to reach out to me, let me know how the shows are helping you, have some questions you want to ask, or just want to reach out to me. I'll leave my information in the show notes. But I just pray that this has blessed you. I pray that you have a blessed day. And with that said, stay pampered. Thanks for joining us this week on the Pampered Thoughts podcast. Be sure to visit us at www.pamperedthoughts.com, where you can subscribe to the show on iTunes, Stitcher, or RSS, so you'll never miss a show. You can also check us out on Facebook and Instagram at Pampered Thoughts, and on Twitter at I Am Pampered. As always, subscribe to the show to catch a new episode every week. And if you found value in the show, please leave a rating on iTunes and tell a friend about us. We want to continue to bring you the episodes you love. Thanks again for listening, and until next time, stay pampered.